Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I'll show you a zombie horror film named Witness Infection. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The story begins with our protagonist, Carlo, facing a dilemma. He is the owner of a pet store and has feelings for Babe, a female employee at the shop. However, his father insists on arranging a marriage for him to form an alliance with the local Corleone family, a notorious gang. Bloody Mary, the eldest daughter of the Corleone family, is 35 and has been living a wild life in society. She had previously dated Carlo's older brother, but broke up with him due to his infertility and bad hormone skills. So Carlo's father wants him to marry Bloody Mary, ostensibly for marriage, but in reality, to father a child for her. Carlo disagrees with the arrangement. One evening, his father buys a local specialty sausage and invites the family for dinner, including Bloody Mary, hoping to bring Carlo and Bloody Mary together. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, Carlo is delayed and arrives late to the gathering. His father pulls him aside and sternly warns him to accept the marriage or face the Corleone family's wrath. For the sake of his family's safety, Carlo reluctantly agrees and presents Bloody Mary with a precious necklace. However, in the next moment, Carlo suddenly changes his mind and declares to everyone that he doesn't love Bloody Mary, and she doesn't love him either. He insists they shouldn't let their families dictate their marriages. Upon hearing this, Bloody Mary puts down her sausage, storms off to the bathroom, and breaks down in tears. Carlo's words infuriate his father, who demands that Carlo face Mr. Corleone and repeat his statement like a man. If he doesn't dare to do so, he should continue with the marriage to Bloody Mary. Carlo firmly states that he will go through with it. Afterwards, Carlo's father informs him of their family's current predicament, explaining that only by marrying Bloody Mary can they have a chance to turn things around. Carlo returns to the pet store, where he encounters Babe. Upon learning of the situation, she decides to accompany him on his journey to confront the Corleones. Carlo and Babe drive to a restaurant to meet with John, their close childhood friend who happens to be the owner. At the moment, John is arguing with his staff over a recently popular sausage, believing that it doesn't deserve a place in his restaurant, even though it's in high demand. In the end, John gathers the sausages and throws them in the trash bin outside. Unbeknownst to him, a strange hand reaches out to grab the discarded food. It seems that the sausage crisis is gradually spreading throughout the town. On the other side of town, Mr. Corleone learns that Carlo is unwilling to marry his daughter and is furious. He orders 2 of his men to teach Carlo's father a lesson. However, instead of following through, the 2 henchmen transform into super pranksters, possibly out of protest or reluctance. After they leave, we notice that they too have eaten the sausages, and it's clear they are slowly mutating. Meanwhile, Carlo, Babe, and John remain unaware of the impending crisis. On their way to the Corleone family's villa, they notice a group of strangely behaving men and women on the streets, but don't pay much attention and continue driving. Suddenly, an unknown creature appears in front of their car. Carlo immediately stops the car and gets out to investigate, only to find a rotten deer, causing everyone to scream in chicken voices. As they wonder where the deer came from, a strange noise emerges from the nearby bushes. Carlo nervously approaches and discovers 2 men crouched on the ground, seemingly gnawing on something. Upon closer inspection, Carlo sees a mangled fawn and recoils in fear. The noise alerts the 2 men, who chase after them. Carlo and the 2 hurriedly get back in the car. A zombie-like creature lunges onto the windshield, emitting terrifying screams. Carlo quickly shifts into reverse and steps on the accelerator, fleeing the scene as fast as a Ferrari horse. As they drive, they wonder what happened to the 2 men they encountered. However, they remain oblivious to the severity of the situation. Subsequently, the trio arrives at the Corleone Villa with the deer head still on their car. Before getting out of the car, Carlo tells Babe that if he doesn't return in 20 minutes, she should come in to rescue his shitty life. He then strides forward with confidence. However, after a short distance, he returns and asks them to come in after 15 minutes instead, revealing his apprehension since he's dealing with a powerful mob boss. Not long after Carlo goes in, Babe grows worried and decides to enter the villa early to rescue him. Unexpectedly, she runs into Mrs. Corleone, who is carrying a bag of sausages. Upon seeing Babe and John, she mistakes them for a call girl and a pimp, respectively. Furious, Mrs. Corleone drives into the villa, intending to confront her nasty husband. Babe follows her and successfully sneaks into the Corleone Villa. Carefully, the two make their way toward Carlo's location, encountering Mr. Corleone's prankster henchmen along the way. John plans to create a diversion, but Babe has a better idea and impulsively delivers an impassioned speech. Unfortunately, she gets punched and knocked out, exposing John's position. Both are captured and knocked unconscious. When they wake up, they find themselves tied to chairs, with Carlo also implicated due to their recklessness. Mr. Corleone descends the stairs, spouting threats about feeding the three of them to the fish that night. He orders his henchmen to act, but they are suddenly attacked and bitten by a group of zombies without human mercy. The three captives, stunned by the scene, quickly devise a plan to save themselves. Carlo is the first to break free from his bindings, releasing the others as well. They try to escape, but Babe, who is at the rear of the group, gets caught by a prankster henchman. Just as she's about to become zombie food, Carlo picks up a nearby fishing rod and uses all his strength to strike the zombie, knocking it into the swimming pool, where it starts doing the backstroke. Having just escaped the zombies, the trio encounters the mutated Mrs. Corleone, who is gnawing on the deer head from their car. As they find themselves caught between a rock and a hard place, Mrs. Corleone attacks the henchmen, providing cover for Carlo and the others to escape. Elsewhere in the town, two hitmen in suits appear, following orders to eliminate a family. After devising a plan, they get out of their car, weapons in hand, only to encounter two muscles-thirsty zombie sisters upon entering the yard. Panicking, they retreat into the house where they find even more zombies. The hitmen are soon overwhelmed and become the zombies' next victims. Now the scene shifts to Carlo and his companions. The trio plans to take refuge in a nearby bar, but the entrance is swarming with zombies. They quietly sneak into the bar, only to find the front door locked. Just as John is about to break the door with a brick, Carlo stops him, pointing out that doing so would leave them defenseless against the zombies. At this critical moment, Babe finds the front door key under the doormat and uses it to unlock the door. Unfortunately, John, who is the last one to enter, carelessly forgets to lock the door, setting the stage for a zombie crisis. Inside the bar, they encounter a survivor named Rose, who is wielding a shotgun and calls herself the Avenging Goddess. After a passionate speech, Rose calms down and invites the trio to sit down, discussing the safety of the bar while savoring drinks. She had reinforced all the doors and windows before they arrived. Rose then becomes suspicious and asks how they got in. John confidently explains they found the key under the doormat. Upon hearing this, John suddenly remembers he didn't lock the door. By the time he realizes the danger and tries to close it, it's too late. Dozens of zombies have already stormed in, and a fierce battle ensues. Rose grabs her shotgun, swearing to eradicate the zombies, and everyone arms themselves for the fight. Babe encounters an old customer in the midst of the zombies and is forced to smash their head, successfully taking them down. Carlo, facing danger, manages to free himself from a zombie by striking it with a stick. Just as John is cornered by a zombie, Babe rushes to help and pulls the zombie down from behind. However, the zombie shifts its focus to Babe and crawls towards her sexy body, intending to make some zombie babies with her. John sees this and stomps on the zombie's head, crushing it and sending it straight to the brothel in hell. After an intense battle, only one zombie remains in the bar. Rose aims her gun, intending to end its life, but she has run out of bullets. The trio is left with no choice but to use sticks to finish the job. After the battle, they sit together and enjoy some drinks, discussing the origin of the zombies. They all think of the recently popular sausages as the likely cause. At this point, Carlo recalls that his family had also eaten these sausages, so he rushes back to check on them, with Babe and John accompanying him. Upon arriving at Carlo's house, they find it in utter chaos. Bloody Mary, who had eaten the most sausages, had been the first to mutate and was squatting in the bathroom. She bites Carlo's older brother when he checks on her. Hearing the commotion, the father comes downstairs with a gun and shoots Bloody Mary, who collapses on the sofa, motionless. Soon after, Carlo and the two arrive and see Bloody Mary on the sofa. Babe notices the necklace Carlo had given Bloody Mary around her neck and tries to remove it. The next second, zombie Bloody Mary wakes up and lunges at Babe for blood, who promptly knocks her down with a stick. This time, Bloody Mary stays down. Carlo hears his father's screams from upstairs and rushes up with a baseball bat. He finds his mutated brother cornering his father in the bathroom. As Carlo tries to save his father, the brother shifts his focus and tackles Carlo. The father sees this, steps out of the bathroom, removes the toilet lid, and places it over his eldest son's head. He pulls with all his might, ultimately separating the head from the body. After the crisis is averted, the father collapses on the floor. Before he can say much, he starts vomiting black blood and begins to mutate. Carlo, filled with sorrow, shoots his father in the head. After resolving everything, Carlo goes downstairs and embraces Babe tightly, but without hormone yoga. With the swift intervention of the military, the zombie crisis is finally resolved. 2 weeks later, the government traces the source of the zombie virus, which indeed comes from the popular sausages. The virus first infects the victims' intestines and then gradually turns them into bloodthirsty zombies. As for why the virus appears in the sausages, it is because the sausage manufacturer, in order to make more money, purchased a batch of pork from pigs that had died due to contamination, resulting in this crisis. After the incident, the owner of the sausage company flees overnight and is pursued by the police. Carlo returns to his normal life, continuing to run his pet store. One day, he finally musters up the courage to confess his love and propose to Babe, who is overjoyed and readily agrees to marry him. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.